Hi, Tom back here with another Fresh Egg Short. Today we're going to be talking about sitemaps. So what are sitemaps? They are a file which we generally link to from our robots.txt, which allows us to give a list of all the URLs, and that can include videos as well as pages. But it's the list that we give to search engines of pages we want to have displayed in search engine results pages. The sitemap tells Google where things are located and can kind of help with the efficiency of indexing your content. They usually contain information on when a page was last updated and things like hreflang for international sites. You generally need them if your site's quite large, although it's worth noting there are some limitations. A sitemap file is limited to 50,000 URLs or a certain size of file for Google. So if you've got more than that, you might need multiple variants if you've got a large e-commerce platform or lots of blog content. But generally speaking, it's usually one file with a kind of list. And we'll have a look at R1 in a moment for you. Another reason to ensure you've got a sitemap is if your site's new. So Google finds and indexes pages by crawling links on the internet. If you've got a new site, you won't have lots of links pointing to your content, so Google may take a bit of time finding it. And this is really just another way to give Google the best kind of information that you can on the page that you want to have indexed. So it's kind of a speed and consistency thing. Really though, as long as you've got strong internal linking, where Googlebot can access everything on your website, you shouldn't have any problems anyway. This is just another way to efficiently manage and help Google find things and index them. Building a sitemap, essentially it's an XML file usually. It's the standard format. So we'll have a look at ours in just a second. Usually if you're using something like WordPress, for example, there'll be a plugin. I believe Yoast does it for WordPress, but yeah, it's usually a plugin or something in the CMS that you use to automatically build a sitemap so that you can manage it easier without having to manually create one. If you don't have anything like that, a plugin or one that's already been created by your CMS, then you need to speak to your devs about that and discuss how best to implement and keep it updated. Uploading to Search Console. Let's have a look at that now, see what that looks like. So it's really easy. Just go into your Search Console, click down to Sitemaps here, and you'll see a section called Add a New Sitemap. All you need to do is take your URL and pop it in here. You'll see that we've got some examples down here, a couple of the old ones, but our latest one is /sitemap-index.xml, which we'll go and have a look at here. What you see here is it's just one file or a link, sorry, to actually a larger sitemap. So as long as Google can access that link and get to the other links, which is where you might have kind of a structure based on how your website's built. You might have a folder for blog, you might have a sitemap for blog, sorry, you might have a sitemap for products, you might have a sitemap for videos. It all depends on the size and structure of your website. But what the XML sitemap will look like is something like this, and all it is a huge list of all the URLs that we want to have indexed, and you'll see they are full or absolute URLs, so not just /blog, etc. So I'll zoom in a bit here. So it's got a full URL, so it includes our domain name and the folder and full URL there. It's also got the kind of how regularly that page gets updated, or there's things around priority, timestamps get used quite a lot in there. There's other things that you can do with your sitemap to give more information to Google about those pages. But it really is as simple as adding that link to this and clicking submit. Then walk away, have a cup of tea, or check the next day, and you should come back to a success, and it'll tell you how many pages have been discovered. You can click through and see if there's any issues around pages. There might be, it might flag issues such as 404 pages that are in there, or redirects that are in there, which shouldn't be in there. One of the things you need to remember with sitemaps is that they all need to be 200 status URLs, so no redirects or error pages in there at all. You can use Screaming Frog, if you've got access to that, to check for issues with sitemaps, including finding orphan pages, which is a really important one. So orphan pages are pages which may only be found via sitemaps, but cannot be found via the crawling of bots on the website. So yeah, lots of things to troubleshoot there, but hopefully, as long as you keep your sitemaps up to date and ensure that the location of them doesn't change, you shouldn't have had any problems. So I hope that's been helpful. We see you next time.